9 to 5, transform my life, yeah. 9 to 5, cutting like a knife, but I refuse to let it be.
It is 6:04, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off and get started. I'm gonna say, welcome everyone. Before we begin, this great presentation again, I said Happy Veterans Day and welcome again. Today, we're gonna be talking about something that here at Excite Capital we're very passionate about, and we're very passionate about bringing these opportunities to members of our community. So, but before I even begin, right? Before I even get into this, I want you to imagine something, right? All of us are busy professionals. A lot of you are busy professionals. But what if your career could be a bridge to financial freedom and not a cage that holds you back? Just imagine that for a moment. Because today I'm going to show you exactly how you can generate $15,000 to $18,000 annually in passive income while focusing on your career. I'm talking about you making money while you sleep, like putting your money to work for you, doing exactly the same thing that the wealthy and all the other savvy investors do, because they understand that the least efficient way of making money is exchanging your hours for money. But once you do that, once you start doing that, you leverage that career to create income that is generated while you sleep. But before I go into down deep in the weeds, I get really excited when I start talking about this stuff. Let me take 20 seconds just to handle the formality. So, as successful professionals, you understand the importance of due diligence. So, this presentation contains privileged information for our invited guests. And while we're excited to share these opportunities, we encourage you to review them with your trusted advisors. That's exactly what the savvy investors do, and we encourage you to do exactly the same thing before you invest. So now that we have that covered, let's get into what brought us here today. So every time I review this presentation and I get to this slide, I get a little bit emotional because it reminds me of where I was back in 2017. This was 2 years after starting my career as a nurse anesthetist. I was laying on my couch one evening and I saw my 2-year-old daughter just running around the house doing all this stuff. And it finally hit me that this girl is 2 years old and I have missed out on most of her life. And the reason for that is because I was fresh out of anesthesia school in 2015, very hungry to make as much money as I can. And the only way I knew how to make that money was to exchange my time for money. So I spent multiple hours in the hospitals, working 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, 24-hour shifts. I would leave my house very early in the morning at 6 a.m. in the wintertime when it's dark, and by the time I get back home when it's dark. So I missed out on a significant portion of my daughter's life. And that evening in 2017, when it hit me, I made a decision to do something different. I made a decision that this cannot be my life forever. There's got to be a better way. But back then, I just didn't know where to go. So that thought led me down the path of picking my first book on financial education. That thought is what led me down the path of seeking real estate investments. And that thought is what is leading me to this point, to having these conversations with you, other busy professionals, on how we could leverage our 9 to 5 to create income for ourselves. Now, if you're here, you work hard. A lot of us are overachievers, so you're familiar with this. Like, this circle that I show is not a concept that is foreign to any one of us. We are in the grind, the constant grind, exchanging our time for money, putting in the hard work. A lot of us are hardworking professionals. We are ambitious. We've been taught that the only way that we build wealth or create an amazing future for ourselves is get a career and keep exchanging our time for money. And we get in that circle of constantly working, exchanging time, getting money. And the more we want, the more time we give. But the pressure doesn't just end at work. It continues at home too. Because by the time you leave work, you get home, you're so exhausted that you don't have the time to even spend time with your families. So you're missing out on the quality of life as a human, but also missing out on the quality of life with your loved ones, right? And this is the life that we've been taught to accept. We've been taught to accept the grind. But here's what most of us professionals miss. Our jobs are not just a paycheck. Your job is not just a paycheck. It's seed capital for your future. And when you leverage this seed capital the right way, you set yourself up for a life designed by you, the life that you want. It is important to invest in you. It is paramount to invest in your future, right? And when we start talking about investments, I'm sure you've heard this one before. I'm not sure this is the right time to invest. Yeah, you've heard this, but guess what? The wealthy make moves when everybody is afraid. I'm sure you've heard the Warren Buffett quote that is quoted a lot of times, that the time to be greedy is when everybody is fearful, right? We see this pattern keeps repeating itself over and over, right? The first, these big institutions, they create fear. Two news cycles. You hear about this is happening. Oh, the world is coming. All of this is happening in the news every day in your ears. The fear is created. Then the wait for us, retail and individual investors, busy professionals, to pull back and say, oh man, things are getting worse. It's danger right now. The world is coming to an end. I'm not going to invest. I'm going to hold on to my capital. And then guess what they do? They swoop in and pick up all the assets at discounts and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate wealth, why everybody is fearful. And this is not something that is new. Back in 2008, we saw this happen. Let me tell you guys a story. In 2008, I cannot forget this evening. I was driving to work. I worked at the medical ICU at Johns Hopkins, downtown Johns Hopkins, and it was right in the middle of the market crash in 2008. I had spent my time watching the news before going to work, so I got on the phone with one of my friends, and we were talking about what was happening. We're talking about how we've heard Bank of America stocks had fallen down to about, I think it was about $4 or $7 or some ridiculous price. And they were encouraging the employees to buy these stocks, but we knew it was there available for us to buy. We had money, but we would not buy because of the fear. We were listening to the news and it was like, oh, the economy is going to get worse. This other thing is going to collapse. It's going to get worse. In that same period of time, guys, my sister owned a condo in Langley Park, Maryland. In that same building, 90% of the condos in that building went on foreclosure. They were selling for $10,000 per unit. This is 2-bedroom condominium units selling for $10,000 a unit and renting at that time for about $1,000. I had $10,000 in my bank account, but I was too afraid to buy, and I never did. But guess what happened in 2008? While most of us, the general public, was afraid, the big guys swooped in. Blackstone got in, spent $12.5 billion buying up all the real estate assets, right? And those real estate assets is what they were able to sell a few years later to create massive returns for their investors, while we sat back in fear, waiting for things to turn around. Have you ever just wondered why Wall Street always seems to buy at the perfect time? Just look at what's happening today, right? We saw the headlines. Commercial real estate is in crisis. There's an impending recession. Oh, things are going bad. The Democrats, the Republicans are doing this. All of this is happening, right? The financial news, the news cycles are warning us to stay away, to cower in fear, hide. And guess what is happening right now while all of that is happening? These same big institutions are going in and scooping in all the assets. They are going in and buying these assets at a discount. This is the truth. This is what is happening right now. Blackstone has allocated $250 billion. In 2008, it was 12.5. Today is $250 billion to go after these discounted commercial real estate assets so they can continue to create passive income, money in their sleeve for themselves and their investors. And at the same time, now the Fed, and the bad news is starting to decrease interest rates. And if you know anything about commercial real estate, when the Fed starts decreasing interest rates, it's just a matter of time before the values go up. So these big institutions are positioning themselves to capitalize on these moves and make big things happen for themselves. But guys, this time is different. We've learned their playbook. At Excite Capital, we are bringing busy professionals like ourselves to do exactly what Blackstone does. We pool our resources together, buy premium properties, and build generational wealth. Professionals like ourselves deserve the same opportunities as Wall Street. That's why we created Excite Capital in the first place, to give you the advantages that they've enjoyed for decades. So when someone says this isn't the right time to invest, ask yourself, who benefits from that story, right? Because like one of my mentors told me, don't listen to the stories, follow the money. Who benefits from these stories? So while others are paralyzed by fear, we're following the smart money. We're doing exactly what they're doing. And this time, it's not just Wall Street that benefits, it's professionals like you, right? So let me show you exactly what we're seeing in the market. You heard the Federal Reserve came in last week and dropped interest rates by another 25 basis points. They're expected to drop interest rates again in December by another 25 basis points. That's a full 100 basis point drop in interest rate over the last in a 6 month period of time. We're hearing about global tensions easing. We're hearing about China, Russia, Middle East calling for ceasefire, calling for stability right now. And when that happens, typically a lot of money flows into US real estate for investments. And with interest rates, when interest rates go down, the value of commercial real estate properties go up. Over the last 2 years, we've seen interest rates increase and a rapid rise and a record level from 0 to about 5, which led to a significant drop in prices for commercial real estate assets. I'm talking about a 25 to 35% drop in some markets. So let's connect the dot, guys. We have rate cuts that are happening right now, global money that is set to start returning back into the US market, and we have $250 billion sitting on the sidelines by these big institutions ready to capitalize on this opportunity that we're seeing. The smart money sees it, the big institutions see it, and now you see it too. So now is the time for us all to capitalize on this. And we will do this by acquiring institutional grade assets, us, the busy professionals, acquiring these assets so we can create generational wealth for ourselves. So one of the main differences between the wealthy and us is that the wealthy have passive income. They understand that one of the most inefficient methods of creating wealth is by exchanging our time for the wealth. So they create avenues where they can create money. Money can come to them while without them needing to be there physically. So for example, with like an asset like Grove Parkview, which I'm getting ready to present to you today, we have tenants that pay the rent every month. We have property managers that stay on site and manage the property every single day. And as an investor, you receive quarterly distributions. Talk about 100% passive investment. If you've ever invested in a rental property, or if you're a landlord, you know very well that there's nothing passive about being a landlord. But with these assets, you are truly passive and you get yourself on the path to creating generational wealth. So before I dive right deep and go into the details about this particular asset, some of you might be joining us the first time. Let me break it down to you what multifamily investing truly is, right? Imagine if you own a single family rental property and at one point your tenant leaves. What happens? Your property is 100% vacant, which means you're 100% responsible for the expenses of that property. But when you have a 268 unit building like Grove Parkview, one tenant lives, we're talking about a 0.5% in vacancy that has little to no effect on the income of that property. So that's stability that you could bank on. Even during COVID, even during the 2008 crash, multifamily assets maintain a 91 to 93% occupancy. So we're talking about an asset that is stable through various cycles. And how do we acquire these assets? Obviously, I don't have the money to go buy a 268 unit building by myself. So that's where the syndication model comes in, right? And syndication really is just a fancy word for something really simple. A group of smart investors, a group of busy professionals pooling their resources to buy something bigger and better that they could not do alone, right? So think about this. Think of it like this. Would you rather own 100% of a small boat? Like my partner Tenny is from Bonny Island, so he used to use a small boat to travel around. So would you rather own 100% of that small boat, or 10% of a luxury yacht, like the one Jeff Bezos owns? right? So that's what we're doing with Growth Parkview, giving you partial ownership into an institutional grade asset. And this is the exact same model that all the large institutions do. This is the exact same model that Blackstone do, that they're doing with these assets that they're acquiring right now. And when we discovered this, we made it our mission to bring it to the hardest working people that we've been exposed to, our colleagues in healthcare, our colleagues in IT, our colleagues in other fields who give time and sweat to make money. Now is the time for us all to start making money while we sleep. So now, guys, imagine for a second, every quarter in your checking account, you get $1,700 to $4,500. That's exactly what this kind of investments have the ability to do for you. That's exactly what our current investors are experiencing right now with some of our assets. We actually have investors that could make up to $21,000 a month in passive income. That is income that they generate a month without having to put in any extra effort. The chart you see here is from our investor portal, and this is an actual investor payout for an investor that invested $100,000 in one of our assets. And as you can see, every quarter he's getting about 1745 in distributions, and this is just one part of the distributions that he gets. That he gets, right? And actually this last distribution he's getting about almost $1,900 because the cash flow is increasing that asset, and this is money that he didn't have to make any additional effort to get. So again, before I dive in really deep, let me introduce you to the team that's making this possible. I know I started this and just started talking without really introducing myself, but my name is Leslie Awasom. I'm one of the co-founders of Excite Capital, and the two other gentlemen you see here are my two amazing partners. Amazing CEO, Dr. Julius Oni, who could not be with us here today. He called us earlier, biting himself that he is missing out this amazing presentation, but he's on an international flight right now, doing some amazing things around the world. And our amazing director of acquisitions, Mr. Tenny Tolofari himself, the firebrand that goes out there and fight with these big institutions to snatch some of these assets so we could get it to our community. You know, you might be wondering, why Excite Capital? What makes us different? Let me be direct with you guys. We are not just real estate professionals. We are practicing medical professionals, engineers, doctors, CRNAs, right? Just like you. We've walked the exact path that you've been on, working long hours, building successful careers, but realizing what was missing, a true path to financial freedom. So we understand the shoes that you've been in. That is why, even in the approach, the way we approach investing and assets, it's approached with you in mind, because we've been there. We know how hard it is for us to earn, to work for our money, right? So that's what makes us different from the other financial advisors with the fancy suits that you see. And Excite Capital was founded in 2019, and over the last 5 years, going on 6 years right now, we've acquired $168 million of real estate assets. And there's absolutely no way we would have done this without the support and trust of all the other busy professionals that have joined us on the ownership group of these assets. You know, we knew there was a need, but we missed, I think we underestimated the need, because when we came out, a lot of other professionals were like, oh, I've been waiting for something like this. I can't wait to jump in on this asset. And that's how we've been able to acquire $168 million of assets over the last 5 years and delivered to our investors 29.97% average annual returns on our last full cycle deal. Let that sink in for a minute. That means you invested $100,000 in that deal and you earning $30,000 a year in passive income without having to lift an additional finger. Now you understand why we took on this fight, to fight the battle and be able to bring these institutional grade assets to you as well. Right? So in that same period of time, we have distributed back to our investors $7.7 million. And I think this is the number that we're most proud of. as the director of operations, I get to issue out distributions, and I get that privilege, and it's the best time for me when I'm managing these assets, getting to push that button to send passive income to all these busy professionals that work so hard and are investing in a deal. And our CEO, Dr. Julius, only a couple months ago when we were reviewing these numbers, he challenged us. He said $7.6 million at that time is good, but he will not be satisfied until this number is at $100 million. We are far away from that number, but with this deal that we're presenting to you, we'll get closer to that. And with the subsequent offers, we're going to get closer to that. And I guarantee you that in the next few years, we're going to be able to have distributed back to our investors $100 million. So and in that same period of time, the average occupancy in our assets has been about 92.7%. But that's why we build Excite differently. Everything that we do at Excite is structured for the busy professionals. All our processes are streamlined for passive investors. We are not Wall Street guys. We're not Wall Street guys in fancy suits. We are physicians. We are CRNAs. We are IT professionals who crack the code on real estate investing while maintaining our 9 to 5. And now we are opening the doors to do the same for others. So guys, let's dive right into this amazing opportunity that we have in front of us right now. This 268 unit institutional grade asset located in Stone Mountain, Georgia, in Gwinnett County. This property sits on 19.6 acres. And listen to this. This is one of the numbers that caught my attention on this property. 96% occupancy, with an occupancy average over the last 10 years at 95%. In our business, these are not just numbers. What this actually means is demand. It shows the demand for this asset, right? These number, 96% occupancy, got me really excited. But it's not just about the occupancy. Here are some other things that makes this the best opportunity that we've brought to market so far. Number one, the location. This property is located in Stone Mountain, Georgia, in the Gwinnett County side. This is one of Atlanta's most stable submarkets, right? And these are some other things that make it special. This property is zoned to Parkview High School. It's zoned to one of the best school districts in the whole state of Georgia. It has access to major employers 15 minutes away. And something very crucial as well is like the limited new construction that is coming in the area. In every the fundamentals of every business is driven by demand and supply. I've showed you the demand numbers, 96% occupancy, evidence of high demand. That's why it's so fully occupied and has stayed 95% occupied over the last 10 years. Now we have another scenario where the county is limiting the amount of new construction that you could have in that area. This property that we are acquiring is one of the only 2 apartment complexes zoned to Parkview High School. So we're talking about a property that is going to remain in high demand because of where it's located. So because of the great schools, we are attracting long-term tenants, families, professionals, people who treat this as their home, not just another apartment. All right. That's why the occupancy has stayed 95% over the last 10 years. And this is not just something that we say. According to our Atom data, this is one of the biggest data solutions in business in general. They did an analysis in 2023. They did an analysis of 20,000 zip codes. And they found that properties near good schools show a 12% higher occupancy rate, a 23% tenant retention rate, and 35% real estate values appreciate up to 35% faster for properties that are located in the top school district. And this is one of our strategies when we're picking properties. Finding properties where there are good schools, it's almost a guarantee to win, because people would always want to live where their kids can go to good schools. And in addition to all of that stability, this asset provides a great opportunity for growth, a proven opportunity for growth. We've identified 105 units for strategic renovation. The current owner is already doing that and generating the premiums that you see on the screen. So our projections are based on what is already happening in the property, not something that we're speculating about. Now, the current owner renovated a bunch of units, and these units are leasing up fast. with zero concessions. Like most of them stay open for like 7 days. So there's actually a waiting list for renovated units. So once we go in, we're going to renovate the rest of the units that are left, and we're able to capture on this renovation premium. In addition to that, we're going to be spending $800,000 to upgrade the exterior of the building, right? So let's add this all up. We're talking about stable, high demand location, a proven renovation strategy, a current occupancy rate of 96%, and immediate upside potential. Guys, this isn't just another apartment complex. This is an institutional grade asset with multiple paths to increasing value and your returns. Now, remember that 29.97% return I mentioned from our last cycle deal? That wasn't magic. This was exactly this same strategy that was executed step by step on that property, and we were able to deliver 29.97% average annual returns to our investors. And I actually believe Grove Parkview is positioned to do better, right? But looking at the asset that I mentioned, this is an example of what happens when you buy a property in a good school district. We bought this property in Columbia, South Carolina. It was located in one of the best school districts in Lexington County. The elementary school was like 9 on 10. We implemented our business plan, doing the same kind of value add that we're going to do at Grove Parkview. And in 21 months, we had hit our exit projections. And we exited this property. We bought it for $12.55 million, sold it for $17.8 million in 21 months. And our investors walked away with 29.97% average annual return. That's an execution that we're very proud of, because that's the reason why we're in this business. We set out on this mission to bring these institutional grade assets to our busy professionals so they can create wealth for themselves. Now, let me show you something fascinating about our projections. We've analyzed this deal from every single angle, not just ours, but also using CoStar data, the gold standard for commercial real estate. Our current underwriting projections assumes a 5.3% exit cap rate. But what does CoStar project? CoStar is projecting a 4.6% exit cap rate by the time we go out to exit on this property. And for you that are not familiar with these terms, cap rate is just a measure of market sentiment, and it affects the value of multifamily assets. When the cap rates are high, the values decrease. When the cap rates are low, the values go up, because the formula to determine the value of a multifamily asset like a large apartment complex is the net operating income divided by the market cap rate. And cap rates are very sensitive to interest rates. When interest rates go up, cap rates expand, because the debt is the biggest expense in any multifamily property. So, and when cap rates go down, properties value go up because the debt cost is lower. So with CoStar projecting 4.6% exit cap rate, if that were to happen, your returns on this asset are not going to be the 15 to 18% that we're projecting. It's going to be more in the range of 23 to 27% average annual return. Guys, that is a 2.1 to a 2.3x equity multiple. That's your $100,000 is generating $130,000 for you over 5 years, while you maintain your job, maintain your 9 to 5, and continue to create income from that. So here's why we are so confident about these numbers. Look at the data. Since 2020, this submarket has experienced a 23.4% rent growth. And just this year, quarter over quarter rent growth on this property itself, it's averaging about 8%. Why the rest of the market is struggling? Talk about the importance of demand and supply. We have and at the same time, the average occupancy has stayed at 95% or more, with an average vacancy in 2024 of 4.5%, right? And with this declining new construction pipeline in the area, this demand is anticipated to continue. Now let's talk about that last point. Let me emphasize on that. right? Because supply is a very, very important metric that determines how good a multifamily asset performs. So we're talking about no new multifamily construction within a 3 mile radius. And the property is currently 95% occupied. And Gwinnett County is growing in population at a very rapid rate. Actually, the fastest growing population, the fastest growing county in the whole state of Georgia. The pace of growth in Gwinnett County has outpaced, I think it was Fulton County that was number one. Gwinnett County has outpaced Fulton County in growth right now. So you're talking about a place where more people are moving into. There's no more supply coming in. There's this 2 apartment buildings that are zoned to the top school district. So you can imagine for yourself what will happen in the next few years. So this is not just data. Like it's demand and supply fundamentals, which is creating the perfect storm for rent growth, and that explains exactly what is happening in the property. So even using our most conservative projections, even assuming market softening, even planning for the unexpected, this property is positioned to perform and outperform our projections. So let me show you what $100,000 investment means for you at Grove Parkview. And again, these estimates are conservative. $100,000 investment every year, that $100,000 generates for you $15,000 to about $18,000 a year in passive income while you focus in your practice. Let me break this real. So this is equivalent to you generating about $3,800 every quarter to $4,500 a quarter. And that is like generating $1,200 a month in passive income. Your $100,000 is generating $1,200 for you in passive income a month. Now show me a bank account that will give you those kind of returns. For perspective, the S&P 500 averages about 7.8% average annual returns historically, but you have an asset here in a location that is in high demand that is projected to deliver double that annually. And if the market does even better than what Costa is projecting, it can actually deliver triple what the S&P 500 delivers for you. So I guess you can understand the excitement that I have when I talk about this, and I get so excited sometimes I'm almost running out of breath. So have you ever wondered how Blackstone and all these other institutions maximize their tax like are able to minimize their tax burdens? There was a story of incoming President Donald Trump paying $600 in taxes when he made almost $20 million that year. The way they are able to do it is by leveraging real estate assets. Through cost segregation and depreciation, you, as a $100,000 investor, you will generate an additional $27,000 in tax savings year one. Now, this $27,000 is not even factored into your return. If we were to add that $27,000 to your return, you're talking about a 42% total benefit in year one. Because these tax savings never go away. This is depreciation that you could apply to any passive income. And if you don't get to apply it this year, it gets carried over to the next year. So this is money back in your pocket. You invest, your investment creates wealth for you, and it gives you depreciation that you could use to save more of the money that you make. That right there is a wonderful investment strategy. That right there is what the institutions do and make a lot of money. And that right there is what we're bringing to our community of busy professionals. So we have structured this investment to match your specific goals. So let me show you how. We have the Class A investment class. This is the stability play. The minimum investment is $100,000. There's a 10% preferred rate of return. And as a Class A investor, you get the first position on the cash flow. So this is perfect for those who want a more predictable returns and like investors that maybe want to use the cash flow to live off their lives. Like we have some investors that might invest $1 million in Class A so that they can make $100,000 a year in passive income and live off of that. So again, like their cash flow is prioritized, so it's more predictable. Class B investors, this is the growth play. The minimum investment is $50,000, and you get a 6% preferred rate of return. which means you get 6% of cash flow owed to you every year. Any year that 6% is not met, the balance gets carried over to the next year. And in addition to that, you get to participate in the profit split. I told you the possibility of getting to like 2.3x equity multiple. That's how you get there, by participating in the profit split, because when these assets do well, you get to take the benefit as well. So there's a lot of upside potential on the Class B investment class. And for the Class C, this is the power position. This is for our investors. We created this class out of request for a lot of our investors who want to put a group together and come and invest. So the minimum investment is $750,000. You get a higher preferred rate of return at 7% and a higher split on the profit at 90-10. So this is like for the investors that are seeking maximum leverage. So you get to enjoy better benefits because you're investing more. So this is the same tier structure that a lot of institutional players use. We simply made it accessible to you, our investors. And the Class C class right now is about 95% subscribed. So there's not much room left in that investment class. So if you're interested in Class C, you might be able to take on the last position that's available. But that one is about to be filled up really shortly. So the choice really depends on your goals. And just to drive home how powerful this opportunity is, I want you guys to look at the debt, the interest rate on the debt. This is a fixed interest rate that is fixed until 2029. That is when we exit this property. Let that sink in. Today's market rates are above 6%. Our rate is locked at 4.74% for the full 5 years. What does this mean? This means we have zero interest rate risk, no refinancing concerns until 2029. Debt is one of the biggest risks in multifamily assets. The debt we are assuming on this property completely eliminates that. So you get debt protection throughout the business plan. So while our debt protects us from the downside, let me show you what truly takes us to the upside. That's our school district. I kind of hinted at this in the beginning of this presentation, but let me drive this home. Let this really sink in. Atom Data Solutions, the analysis in 2023 of 20,000 zip codes stated that these properties that are located in zip codes with good school districts get a 12% higher occupancy rate, 23% lower tenant turnover, and up to 25% higher appreciation rates. We know the school district that Grove Parkview sits in. It's the top school district in Gwinnett County. On top of Atom, there's Zillow. Zillow also confirms this analysis. According to Zillow, properties in top-rated school zones maintain higher occupancy rates. Parents are willing to pay an 18 to 22% premium for good school access. And historical occupancy during the school years is about 94%. Even CBRE in 2023, their multifamily report shows this same data point. Properties in school districts, in good school districts, maintain a 95% occupancy through 2008 and the COVID crisis cycles. So in Grove Parkview, we have a rare gem which provides opportunity for amazing returns. Not just stability, but opportunity for growth as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of you are already excited and ready to jump in on this deal. So before I go in on how you could do that, I'd like to introduce the other part of our team. On this asset, we are partnering with these two amazing gentlemen, Chris Lento and Brad Kanjamila. They've been our partners on 4 other deals, and this will be our 5th acquisition together. Chris is an amazing mind when it comes to asset management. Brad helps us on the capital transaction side and make sure that we secure the loans that we have. And in the middle of all these amazing gentlemen is somebody that we are super proud of and really excited to partner with on this asset. The amazing Dr. Nkem Eziemama herself, a force of nature, an amazing mentee of Excite Capital. That has is the mentee that has become the mentor. You know, we are so grateful that she took upon the challenge to create another platform like what we've created. We are so grateful that she gave us the opportunity to pour into her so she could create a platform so we can continue on this mission of bringing these institutional grade assets to busy professionals. We are the hardest working people in the country. We deserve to have access to the best assets. And Dr. Nkem Ezemama is a powerful part of that mission. So she's joining us on this asset on the management side, and we're going to be taking down this amazing property together. In addition to Dr. Nkem, Chris, and Brad, we have our asset living as our property management team. This is the team that stays on site every day to manage this asset, to look at the property. And one very, very important factor about this property: every business is about the people. On this asset, we're going to be taking over a team that has a combined 75 years of experience on this property. After you invest, I encourage you to visit this property so you get to meet Miss Cynthia, the property manager herself. I just cannot wait to take over this team and make this business plan a home run. Miss Cynthia is amazing. She's an amazing mind. Has a special touch and understanding for her tenants. She manages this property so well. Has been on the property for 25 years. So that, my friends, is the kind of asset that we are acquiring here. That, my friends, is the kind of opportunity that we have in front of us. Not just an opportunity that has a lot of path to growth, but has a stable staff on site. So let me be clear about where we are in the market cycle. There are three critical factors that are converging right now. Interest rates are starting to drop. Institutional capital that has been sitting in the sidelines is getting deployed right now. On top of that, we have locked in a 4.74% interest rate on this property, way below market rates. You've seen the headlines of what the institutional investors are doing, while most of us are waiting on the sidelines. The Blackstones, the Morgan Stanleys, and other institutions, they are moving in. They see what we see in this asset. Grove Parkview presents exactly the kind of opportunities that you should be looking for. A stable, high-performing asset in a top school district with proven rent growth and a clear value-add strategy. But unlike them, you don't need billions of dollars or millions of dollars to participate. You just need to act decisively. December 20th is our funding deadline. And based on our current subscription pace, we definitely going to be fully subscribed before then. So the question isn't if this is the right time for you to invest. The question is, will you be part of this opportunity? Or are you going to sit and watch from the sidelines? So to secure your position, this is exactly what you do. So you're going to scan the QR code that we have on the slides, all over the slides, and fill out the form. A member of our team will book some time with you and take you to the concierge service of walking through an investment process, get you to fill out the subscription documents and sign. Then you could fund your investment and sit back and relax. The investment process is very simple. There are two straightforward options. First, you can use direct cash investment. So you do your paperwork, simply wire the funds to the account provided. We confirm the funds are received, and you sit back and let that money go to work for you. The second option, you use your retirement funds through a self-directed IRA. If you have any old 401k, you can roll it over to a self-directed IRA. Yes, you can use your old 401k to invest in real estate. So we have a dedicated team to handle this entire process for you. They'll do all the heavy lifting, right? And you don't have to worry about the complexity. Our team has helped other like tens and tens of busy professionals just like you. We help you through the paperwork process, guide you through each step of the way, and we partner with top IRA custodians that will also help you in that process, right? So either way, we've made this process as turnkey as possible. Our investors often tell us that they can't believe how simple, how easy it was, because a lot of us usually come to this with thinking that it's going to be more complex than it truly is. So again, it's very important that you know what our exact timeline is, and I kind of hinted at that. So this investment has been open for the subscription documents went live July 31st. As of right now, we are on pace to be 70% subscribed by the end of this week. And again, priority is given to completed subscription documents, not verbal commitments. To secure your spot, get in the portal, complete your documents, and wire your funds as soon as possible. And also remember that the 60% bonus depreciation, that's the $27,000 in tax savings that you're going to get. This is the last year where you get that 60% bonus depreciation. So you want to capitalize on that so you have that depreciation banked and you could use it. That's $27,000 back to your pocket. So you have three options, three equity tiers. Class C is almost full, so you have Class A and Class B. It's on a first come, first serve basis. So scan the QR code, complete the form, and we'll get you in as a part of the ownership group of this asset. So now, when you invest in Grove Parkview, you're not just getting an investment. Or when you invest in any of our assets at Excite Capital, you're not just getting an investment. You are joining an exclusive community of like-minded professionals. As an Excite investor, you get monthly performance updates on your property, including the financials of the asset. We do quarterly calls where we talk directly with our investors and answer any questions that may have about the functioning of their assets. Our investors will also get first access to any new deals that we bring to market. So as an active investor, you get to pick and choose whether you're going to join any new opportunities we bring to market before we put it out to the general public. And but here's where our members truly gain a ton of value. You get premium access to the Beyond 9 to 5 Club. This is a community that we are super, super proud of. This is a community that we're super, super excited about the value that we are able to give back to other busy professionals. In this community, you will get access to other high-performing professionals. You get direct connections to the founders of Excite Capital and all of our strategic partners. You get exclusive educational content. The reason for this is we truly believe that generational wealth is not just about making money. True generational wealth is transfer of knowledge. And when we can not only invest, but learn about these assets, learn about this opportunity, and learn how we could take this knowledge and give it back to our children, then we have created generational wealth. And that is what Excite Capital is here to do, to give you opportunities to create the wealth in assets, create passive income in assets, and transfer the knowledge that we've gained along the way back to you so you could grow in that knowledge as well, pass it down to your kids so that 10, 20, 30 years from today, we can see our kids owning the skyscrapers in New York City, in Los Angeles as well. That is true generational wealth. That is the reason we do what we do. So again, everything is in the investor portal. Go in there, complete your subscription documents. Once you scan this code and fill out the form, a member of our team will reach out to you. We'll call you, set up a time, and we offer concierge service and hold your hand through the process and make this as simple, as turnkey as it can be for you. So the QR code is on the screen. Go ahead, scan it, and get started. So I've been going. So as we wrap this up, let me ask you, all of you, something personal. Do you remember why you started your professional journey? The long hours, the sacrifice, the dedication. You did it to create a better life for yourself and your family. But here's the reality we all face. No matter how successful we are at our professions, no matter how many hours we work, trading time for money has its limits. Right now, you are at a decision point. Do you continue relying solely on your paycheck, or you join other successful professionals who have already secured their piece of this $250 billion wealth transfer that is happening? Our investors, that have already subscribed to Growth Parkview opportunity are set to receive $15,000 to $18,000 a year in passive income on a $100,000 investment, $27,000 in tax savings, all while focusing on what they do best. Remember, we are currently 64% subscribed. The 60% bonus depreciation expires this year. These institutional investors are going in, they're scooping in all the assets. So the next time you are on a late night call, or you are called into work, or you're dealing with a crisis at work and you're missing a family event, ask yourself this question: is it because you choose to work or because you have to? So, Growth Parkview isn't just another investment. It's not just about investing in another real estate asset. It's about investing in your freedom, in your family's future, and the life you've worked so hard to create. The paperwork is ready. Our team is waiting. The opportunity is now. What would you like to do next?
Wow, what an amazing presentation, Leslie. Man, I don't know the juice you drank before you came over here today, but that was wonderful, wonderful. Please, time for you to ask a question. Go ahead, put your question in the chat. Specific questions about the deal, the information Leslie shared, and let's get some of those questions going here. I know we're live on YouTube as well. Team, can you please look on YouTube, see if there are questions coming in from there? And then we can try to address those questions.
The QR code is still on the screen. For those that are looking to jump in, go ahead and scan the QR code, and we'll see it. So I have a question in Q&A. Just for clarification, Class C equity class with minimum investment of 750,000, is that per individual or group of people coming together? Yeah, so Stephen, that's a very good question, and that's precisely why we created that equity class, because we have groups of investors that want to put their force together. Like we have these other groups like AMPA and other groups that we partner with. So if you were to put together your group of, let's say, 5 or 7 other friends, and you guys all come together with the $750,000, yes, you could qualify for the Class C investor class. This is something that we do uniquely for our community because that's something that we found in our community of investors.
And one thing to add there, this investment is for accredited investor only. It's for only accredited investor. And Leslie, do you want to explain what that means?
Yes. An accredited investor is somebody that makes $200,000 a year as an individual, or $300,000 a year as a couple. So, or if you own $1 million in asset, that does not include your primary home.
Thank you, Leslie. We have some other question here coming in. They say how much capital is needed to acquire the property?
So total capital needed to acquire the property is $22 million. And as of right now, we've raised 64% of that, and well on our way to wrap it up.
And the property, the value of the property, we're acquiring for $49.1 million. The total equity required to close, like Leslie said, $22 million. All right, great session. Somebody asks, can I invest February next year?
Unfortunately, so for this property, probably not. I think the space at which it's going is going to be filled up before then. But Tenny is working really hard with Mouse and the rest of the team to find another deal February next year. So we're going to have more deals. But for this property, it's going to be filled up by then.
Absolutely. And the thing about these investments is it took us almost 20 months to find this one. Like you see, we're competing with the institutions, right? We're just regular people. We have these guys that have $250 billion capital on the side. So when these opportunities shows up, they scoop them up fast. So based on what we've been able to build with our community, that's how we've been able to get access to these deals. So what we have right now is the bird at hand. I don't care about the one in the future, but we're going to try our best to continue to bring deals to our community. So this one holds a great opportunity. If you're interested in it, please jump on it. And then as we continue to bring more to in the future, you jump on it. We have another question here from Joseph. Why exit if the asset is creating passive income for investors? When one exit on a 100K investment, how much after exit would one make? So what's the total
That's a
investment?
That's a very good question, Joseph. So for every asset, the business plan is different. For an asset like Grove Parkview, our business plan is to perform that value add on the property, first appreciate the value, sell it and exit. Then we could roll that over to another asset. So there's going to be a time when we're buying assets and we're holding for a longer period of time. But that's probably going to be much newer assets. This asset was built in 1989. So we try to identify this kind of assets that have true opportunity for value add. We execute the value add plan, exit after a few years, then we're able to roll that over to nice assets. So we're slowly building our way to those brand new assets where we'll hold for 20, 30 years and never have to sell. And well, when you exit, you get your initial $100,000 back plus the appreciation. While you're in the deal, you get the cash flow. That's the preferred rate of return. Then when you exit, you get your initial $100,000 back plus the appreciation. And when you combine those two, for this asset, we are projecting you're gonna end up earning about total of about 107. You got an extra $78,000 on top of your 100. So you get your 100 back, and throughout the whole of the deal, you've created $78,000 passively.
Plus a 27% depreciation on the capital that you invested. That's
Yes.
tax saving that you can apply to all passive income. Also, and then who's asking? And then Harry's asking, with the Class A investment, is there no profit sharing at the end of 5 years?
Yes, that is correct, Henry. Class A is cash flow preference, so there's no appreciation. There's no sharing the appreciation at the end.
Absolutely. And then there's a question from Mike Johnson. Is there a minimum amount I have to invest?
Yes, the minimum investment is $50,000 for Class C. For Class A, it's $100,000. Sorry, for Class B is 50,000. Class A is 100,000, and for Class C, 750,000.
Thank you. Is it how much do you plan to sell property for in 5 years?
We are projecting to sell this property at $68 million in 5 years.
Beautiful, beautiful. So the only way we're able to do that is we're able to go in, add value to the property, increase rent. The reason why we're able to increase rent is because we're going to invest in renovation. Once we're able to do that, we first appreciate the asset. And that's how we're able to make money at the end, like Leslie explained. And guess what? Our investor relation professional, Alicia, just put a link in the chat. If you want to get on our calendar directly, her link is on the chat. If you have questions that you want to talk to her one-on-one, her link is on the chat. Please reach out to her, schedule a meeting, talk with her one-on-one, and we can help you start building your way towards financial freedom. This platform is created for you and your family to have access to these assets. So please go ahead, set up a meeting with her. Also scan the QR code, anyone of preference, and we'll make sure we talk to each and every one of you that have come in so far. I see a lot of people are coming in. We want to make sure we get to you as quick as possible. There's another question here. What specific value adds? How much will rent increase? What are our specific add value? Let's go ahead.
That's a great question, Ataki. So on the property, the business plan includes renovating 105 of the units. These units are still in classic condition, meaning that they're still the way they were in 1989 when this property was constructed. So the current owner is actually already started this value add plan and has renovated more than 150 of these units, and they're getting an average rent bump of about $275 on the renovated units. We are projecting an average of about 250 rent bumps on the renovated units. That varies from like the 1 bedroom to the 2 bedrooms to the 3 bedrooms. Some of the 3 bedrooms are like they're so on the market, they're like $400 on the market, and those when renovated will be able to capture those value add premiums. So those are the projections on the rent increase that we're doing on the value add. Is based on what is already happening on the property right now.
And some to add to that, some of the things that we'll do in the unit, we're going to change the cabinet, the flooring, the light fixture, the water faucet, the sink. We're going to make the property very beautiful. And we have a property close by that we've done exactly this kind of value add plan on. So we're going to be just bringing those team to help do this renovation. Also, we're going to be spending a significant amount of money on the exterior as well, because when you visit a property, you want to make sure you have a really nice curb appeal. We're going to be spending some money to make the exterior look really, really beautiful. We're going to be putting in dog park, playground, the pool area. We're going to make it better. We're going to change the roofs, all the roofs on the property. Again, we invest in the project so that the tenants, they see that we've added value to it, so that when we ask for a $200 to $250 increase in premium, they don't sweat it. So we add value first, and then we'll be able to increase the value of the property by increasing rent. Hope that answers your question.
I'm seeing the notifications coming. For all of you guys that are signing up, thank you so much. We appreciate, we value the trust, and we can't wait for you to join us on the ownership group of this asset. So keep them coming. Oh wow, like I'm getting the notifications here on my phone. This is really amazing. I'm glad that we're gonna be able to take this asset together. Steven
There's a
asks,
question here.
Go ahead. No, go ahead,
So I'm
Tony.
just going to say, Steven asks, Class B and C have profit sharing at the end of 5 years, correct? That is 100% correct.
Yes, that is correct. For Class C investors get 90% of the profits, while the general partners get 10. Class B investors get 80% of the profits, while the general partners get 20. So the Class C investors, because you're investing a higher amount, you get a higher share of the profits.
I made one very important point. There's something called a preferred return, meaning we go to work for you. Once you make money, that's when we make money. We don't participate in the cash flow of this project until we hit your preferred return. So everything we do is to make sure our investors, one, we add value to the property, increase the rent, our investors get cash flow, and then once our investors do good, then we're able to make profit on these assets that we buy. Please keep the questions coming. We're here, fired up to answer any questions you have. If you have questions about the market, the demographic, anything you have, keep them coming. And I think with me, Leslie, and the team, we're here to make sure we address all questions.
This has been like a really amazing presentation, and yeah, so it's an amazing time. It's a very interesting time in the market. I hate to call it once in a lifetime opportunity, but it's feeling like it. And a lot of these institutional investors are seeing it, and they're capitalizing on it. And this time around, we're going to capitalize on it as well. It's not going to be like 2008, where the fear made me miss out on those opportunities. This time around, and together we're going to acquire some great assets, and these assets are going to build wealth for ourselves, our families, and put us on the path for us to be able to do what we want to do with our time when we want to do with our time. Jackie asks, local politics wouldn't change school zoning for the area. Not in Gwinnett County. It's tough. Gwinnett County, they're very, very protective about the zoning in Gwinnett County. It's a very nice residential area. Homes over there are quite expensive. So they guard that area really, really well. So we don't see that happening. We don't see that as a risk at all in Gwinnett County. Maybe in other areas, and a lot of times too in Atlanta, they are very predictable in how they do things down there in Georgia. So in this particular area where this property is zoned, there's more zoning for like residential homes, like larger residential homes that sell for like $400,000-$500,000, like the beautiful homes, not necessarily apartment complexes. By the way, Jackie, I see you. Welcome. I was excited when I saw you were going to be attending this webinar today. So I hope you and the family are doing great.
All right, let's go. A lot of questions are coming in. And then Steven is asking again, suppose that I selected a Class A equity class. Is there a way to reinvest the passive income, 15 to 25% back into the property instead of receiving it as a way of reducing taxes on the passive profit?
Unfortunately, no. So once the investment is closed, we cannot accept any more investments. So even once your returns are your returns, we cannot reinvest it back in the property. Unfortunately, the way the investment is structured, you cannot. So you have to take those returns And as far as taxes, you're gonna get 27% depreciation. So passive losses. So that 27% is gonna help minimize your tax burden, right? So think about it this way: you're making $10,000 a month, a year in passive income. You get 27,000 a year one, and year two you also get some other depreciation as well. So pretty much your first 3 years of passive income is tax free because you're gonna have at least $30,000 in depreciation, and you're gonna make $30,000 in 3 years. So it's pretty much tax free income. So the depreciation helps a lot.
Absolutely. And if you don't use the depreciation until the end of the business plan when we sell and you make profit, you're supposed to pay capital gains. You can basically apply the depreciation at that time where you don't pay taxes on a lot of the gains that you make at the end of the business plan. So when you hear about the wealthy not paying taxes, this is it. This is it right here. This is the game. And we're fortunate enough to be able to bring this opportunity to each and every one of you. So we're super excited. Again, let's get it going. Super excited to have you guys join us. And if anybody lives in the area close to this property in the Gwinnett County, Stone Mountain area, and you want to visit it, let us know. We'll make sure we set it up for you to go see the property as well. We're going to have a party when we close the deal. All our investors are going to come down, and we're going to have a good time. How many individuals investors do you anticipate will be on this deal?
It's hard to tell. It varies with each investment. Each investment. We just got a commitment for $5 million from a single investor group last week. So if we get those kind of last checks, the numbers are lower. But at least I'm thinking it's gonna be anywhere from like 100 to 150 investors that will end up with on this deal.
Oh, you can just bring the check for the rest, and then we'll just close it. Right now, we'll just stop. Just say, hey guys, this is the check for the rest of how much you get to go, and we'll be like, hey guys, the deal is filled up. Keep the question coming. These are really good questions, and thank you for your questions as well.
And the QR code is still on the screen. Scan the QR code for all of you that have already joined. The team is ready to meet with you and walk you through this opportunity. And for all of you that are still thinking about it, go ahead and scan the QR code as well, so you get to have any questions answered for you as you go through the investment opportunity. We are really grateful that we have the opportunity to present this kind of assets to you guys. It takes an enormous amount of work to be able to find these deals, but we have committed ourselves to put in that work so that our colleagues, our friends, can have access to the same institutional grade assets that have been reserved to a selected few. All right, we'll continue putting in the work. We'll continue finding these assets, and when we find them, the journey doesn't stop when we close on the deal. That's when the real journey begins. We get to work
Actually starts.
to execute on the business plan, to put the right teams in place, monitor the investment to make sure that you're getting your return, and to make sure that at the end of the business plan, you achieve what we set out to achieve, which is like create wealth for you and your family. And along the way, you be part of the Beyond to the 9 to 5 club. Like, come in there, let's share the knowledge, share the wealth, and continue to learn and continue to grow and pass that knowledge down. Not just keep it to ourselves, but pass it down to the next generation as well. So I'm gonna hold off again.
Leslie, before you wrap it up, I'm going to add one more thing. So as you think about investing, I know some of you, the future is kind of glare. You're not sure about the timeline of when I'm going to be financially free, how I'm going to get there, and all of that good stuff. Make sure you schedule your time on our calendar, and we're going to help you plan the future. Basically, you can see exactly how if today you start putting X amount of money away over a particular period of time, you'll be able to attain that freedom to be with your kids, that freedom to travel, that freedom to do whatever you're passionate about. Schedule a call, get enrolled in the deal, and we'll be able to walk you on that plan. All right.
Thank you, Nataki. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the wonderful questions. The other one is like, there's one more question. It says, given there's so much information out there, How did you find educate yourself with the right information to feel more comfortable about investing in these deals? Especially for us in medicine like me, who don't much bite outside of medicine regarding investing other than slow conservative investment like HYSA, S&P 500. Dr. Frimpong, it took a lot of work. The journey to get here, when we came across these assets, and we realize that a lot of people in our community do not even know that they have the ability to invest in these assets. We made a commitment to ourselves to figure this out. It took a lot of work. We invested significantly in ourselves, hiring mentors, multiple mentors in some cases, pushing to break into certain circles, learning, learning like immersive learning and obsessive learning over the last 5 years. That's what it took for us to be able to understand how to identify the right opportunities, how to identify the right professionals to bring into the team to manage these opportunities, and how to manage these opportunities when we take them over to make them a profitable investment and a profitable investment for our community. So the work hasn't stopped. The work continued to this day. Like since we started on this journey, there's never been a day that we haven't individually spent at least 2-3 hours a day, like studying, learning something, figuring something else, or building this platform. So the work continues. The work continues, and for us to get comfortable, it took us first of all investing with others, being part, like junior partners with others, observing them while they do it, and seeing that it's not as complex as our minds make it to be. Most of you on this call are medical professionals, medical doctors. You shine in your respective fields. Very well respected individuals, super intelligent individuals, right? To get to where you are today, it took a significant amount of discipline, hard work, and dedication. Guys, trust me, this might sound like tedious, but it's not as complex as medicine. It's not as complex as providing anesthesia. It's not performing surgery, right? It's just about buying good assets in good markets that grow, understanding supply and demand metrics, understanding risk in every market cycle, and then simple cheat code, just follow what the big guys are doing, right? They say follow the money and learn what they're doing and just repeat it. They do exactly the same thing, right? And they make all these returns and then they turn around and they give us peanuts. So yeah, so to answer your question, Dr. Frimberg, it took a lot of work, and we slowly got ourselves in there, aligned ourselves with the right mentors, and then got to the point where we are very comfortable, very confident about every single opportunity that we bring to our community.
And if you do have any question outside of this, please schedule a call with us. We'll be able to chat with you, how we're able to get here, share, significant story and some of the resources that we've used to actually help us get where we are right now. Okay.
Yeah, in our invest once you invest and become a member of the Beyond 9 to 5 Club, I promise you in about 2-3 years, this is gonna be even more exciting and make a lot more sense to you that you want to go buy your own 100 unit apartment building. And why not? There's more than enough there for all of us, though. So that journey starts by you scanning this QR code, getting on a call with our team, and let's guide you. Let's see if this asset is a good fit for your portfolio, and determine what the best steps are for you for whatever goal you want to achieve. All right, guys, it is 7:18. Looks like I don't have any more questions, and we're gonna do this webinar again, maybe sometime in the future. But I just wanted to take this moment to express, on behalf of our CEO, Dr. Julius Oni, my partner Tenny Tolofari, and our entire Excite team. We just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation today. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to give a profound gratitude to our entire team here at Excite. Excite is a team of total 12 members that work extremely hard in the back end to bring this webinar to you, to bring these amazing opportunities to you, to make sure that you see that these opportunities are available to you so you could come and get your questions answered. So I just want to say thank you to the Excite team. Thank you to each and every one of you that joined us today. We really appreciate you, and we are here to answer any questions that you have. Yes, you're going to get a recording of this in an email. You're going to get a follow-up email and a recording of this. Please share it with your friends. Share with anyone that you think might benefit from it. Like, who else do you know
Leslie,
that is looking for passive income? Go ahead.
before
Tim.
you end, we have a question from YouTube from Nana, and he's asking, what are the chances of capital calls with these investments?
So, one of the things that I overemphasize, but before I answer that question, I'm just going to explain what a capital call is. A capital call is when you have an investment like this one. We're managing the asset. The investors have contributed their funds, and then at some point during the business plan, the asset is not doing well. We reach out to the investors and say, "Hey, we need more capital to maintain this business, and we're going to be asking every investor to contribute more." So that can happen in these assets, and it's happening now in a lot of assets in the market. That's where some of the distress is coming from. But the main reason for that is the debt risk, right? When you invest in an asset that has a high debt risk exposure, the chances of that happening can be high. So assets that have a floating rate debt, that is the interest rate on that debt floats according to where the Federal Reserve puts the interest rates. So when the Federal Reserve decides to increase interest rates, your interest rate on your debt will increase, right? And that's what happens. So we've seen cases where interest rates have gone from 4 to 9%, right? So now your debt cost is double. So in those cases, your chances of having a capital call is very high. For this asset, the chances of that happening is next to zero. I never like saying that it is zero. Absolutely no. There's always a chance of something happening very small, but in this asset, that the chances are next to zero. Number one, the reason why is because of the debt. We have a fixed debt for the next 5 years at 4.74%. The asset is already performing well enough to pay for its debt and cash flow close to $1 million a year. Number two, the asset is located in a fantastic location without any new supply coming in the next 5 to 7 years. So you're looking at an asset that is in high demand, that has a historic occupancy of 95%. So the asset is producing enough income to pay for all its expenses, including the debt, and still cash flow a significant amount. So that eliminates the chances of having a capital call on an opportunity like this. But great question, Nana. Any other questions on YouTube or LinkedIn?
Yes, please. I think we have some more questions coming in. Let me make sure that we don't have any more. Okay. Team, do we have any other questions from the other channels? If not, Leslie, you can wrap it up. I don't see any other one coming in.
All right, great. Again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you all for your time. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to meet you all in Atlanta at the closing celebration on this property. Yeah, let's take this one down and continue to create generational wealth for our families. Again, thank you guys so much. My name is Leslie Awasom. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Monday to Friday, clock just ticks away. Years are passing while my dreams fade away. 9 to 5, eating up my life. 9 to 5, cutting like a knife. But I refuse to let it be my story. I'm turning pain into glory. Started learning, staying after hours, becoming wise, gaining hidden powers. Every meeting became my classroom, yeah. Every challenge showed me who I am. Took the system that held me down, flipped it over, now I wear the crown. Experience became my greatest tool. Now I'm teaching others all these rules. 9 to 5, transform my life. 9 to 5, cutting like a knife. But I refuse to let it be my story. I'm turning pain pain into glory. 9 to 5, eating up my life. 9 to 5, cut it like a knife. But I refuse to let it be my story. I'm turning pain into glory. Started learning, staying after hours, becoming wise, gaining hidden powers. But I refuse to let it be my story. I'm turning pain into glory. Started learning to glory. Started learning to glory. Started learning to glory. Started learning, stay learning. It came my town. Me down, leaving it behind. Oh, I'm 9 to 5. Beyond the grind. Beyond, leaving it behind. But I'm 9 to 5.